Here's the field for the Derby. 4:40 local time is start time for it. We've got the Classic Mile winner in Romantic Warrior and the Classic Cup winner in California Spangle above him at the top of the book. Chiron Red Star, he went up to the 1600 metres in the UK. I'm a Single Man has the blinkers off. Senor Toba will wear blinkers for the first time. Far. At this stage, all of his form is still over at Happy Valley. Rocket Spade has had the blinkers added as well. Champion Dragon won a Class 3 over the 1800 last time. Mr Ascendancy wears the blinkers for the first time. And Nordic Sky is actually a Derby winner. He won the Derby Paulista in Brazil over 2400 metres prior to arriving. Well, we know, Tom, that California Spangle, he likes to lead in his races. He got a beautiful lead in the Classic Cup and they couldn't run him down. But with Rocket Spade's trial, he might get some more pressure in this race on Sunday.
Yeah, well, Tony Cruz holds the key to this race really with three runners in it. California Spangle, Champion Dragon, a last start winner. I'm a Single Man who also can race handy, and sometimes he can get a bit fierce in the run, Paul, but I think the signs were there with the trial from Rocket Spade. Blinkers going on and they sent him out to a big lead in that barrier trial.
Yeah, they really put the pressure on him in that trial. He's a 2400 metre winner, so he'll want the race run at a true pace as well, as will the other stable runner, Senor Toba. So both those horses will want a bit of pace on. So, look, I think the intent was there that they're going to go forward with Rocket Spade after that trial.
All right, so before we get into this year's race, let's go back and have a look at some past winners. And of course, it was Golden 60 2 years ago. Tom, Sky Darcy with that great ride from Joe last year, and very sad that we've lost him since then. Yeah,
absolutely. Furore, a winner prior to with that as well for Frankie Law and Hugh Bowman, and then Ping Hai Star, and that great win from Rapid Dragon going back 5 years or so, now back in 2017. But it always produces a good runner going forward as the Derby.
Yeah. Here it is, Paul. Triple figure ratings back to 2010. They've all been triple figures. Does that have to be the case this year? Well,
look, there's only two horses in triple figures, as Tom said, which is the California Spangle and Romantic Warrior. Look, if you go back through the years, though, you see horses like Super Satin back there. He was the 6th rated highest in the race. Ping Hai Star was the 3rd rated highest in the race. And last year, you had horses like Russian Emperor and Panfield, who both, arguably could have won the Derby, and neither of them were rated over 100 either. So I think it'd be folly just to say it's a two-horse race.
All right, well, the man that rode last year's winner, Sky Darcy, for Casper Founds, will team up with Casper again this year on the grey Senor Toba via Zoom. This is what Joe Marira told Nick of his chances in the BMW Hong Kong Derby of 2022.
Joe, a big day coming up in the calendar here in Hong Kong, a day that you know very well. It's the BMW Hong Kong Derby, and your mount this year is Senor Toba. How pleased have you been with this horse leading up to the big race?
Well, lately I've been very pleased with him. He's a kind of a horse that from the day one I sat on him for the first time, he gave me a good feel. He gave me a feel that he would appreciate the distance better than anyone else. He has had that interruption during some of period of time of last month, but he was able to bounce back, put on a good run, had a great preparation since then. We had him trialing a couple of times. We jumped him out the other day from the gates on the grass, and he's just giving me the feeling that each day he's improving a little bit. So I'm very pleased with him.
Joe, talk me through that recent trial, because there was a good tempo on with the stablemate Rocket Spade, who also runs in the Derby. But as you say, he had the blinkers on. Was that trial everything that you and Casper wanted him to achieve?
We've noticed that he has improved. He wouldn't be able to perform in that way a month before. I mean, talking about the trial, he wouldn't trial as well as he did a month before. We've done a few changes on him. Obviously, it's Casper's idea trying to improve the horse as he always does, which is fantastic. He had blinkers on, and we noticed that he's a little bit more focused. But you said yourself that barrier trial was such a hot tempo kind of a trial. We were not able to master with them because he's a real stayer, We had him going as well as we could, and I was very happy the way how he's done that trial. He did not win, but he ran home well enough to get me satisfied with it.
You know, there's not much prize money in trials, so you perhaps don't want to win them. You want to save it for the race. Just from his barrier as well, he's jumping from the most successful barrier since the year 2000. Gate number 3 has won it 4 times. So a really nice position to be going into that first turn. Just talk us through the nature of the track, Joe. I mean, 2,000 metres, that first bend comes up really quickly.
Yeah, listen, if you get outside gate, it's always going to be very difficult. Either you press on forward to try to come across in front of most of the horses and slot in, or you're very likely to drop back and put back at the back of the tail, and you pretty much relying on luck, how fast they're going, if you're going to get a horse that will take you into the race, you know, if you're going to find the right horse to bring you into the race, better putting that way. But from gate 3, you actually have the benefit of being where you want to be. You can press on a little bit more and be a bit closer, or if you just want to let your horse find his own rhythm, you will still find yourself in front of a majority of the horses that actually are jumping from the outside gates. I know a few horses on this race from the outside gate will press on and try to lead the race, put on a bit of pace. I honestly think it's going to be a slow run race, but I got the feeling somebody is going to make the move halfway through and then inject pace onto the race. Those horses that were able to actually find themselves very comfortable and get themselves into their comfort zone the first half should be the strongest at the line. Senor Toba is a kind of a horse that does not have a lot of gate speed, so I guess even if we are very lucky to bounce him out of the gate as well as possible, he's likely to be midfield. And as I said, I guess we are going to start building up from the second half of the race. He is a horse that is peaking. We are yet to see the best of him. He's far off of his very peak. But, you know, he's only running against the same age of horses, which is a benefit. He has won against much more mature horses before, horses that actually end up expressing form. And I could not see this horse perform badly against the same age of horses that he's going to be running against on the weekend.
There he is, a confident-sounding Joe Moreira after Senor Toba's run in the Classic Cup and also that trial. We're going to go back to the Classic Cup now, and we'll just have a look at the horses jump out of the gates first of all, because it was a completely different start point to the 2,000 metres. And highlighting a few here, Tom, we've got California Spangle. He'll end up making the lead. Romantic Warrior perhaps actually jumped too well. The Irishman who Paul has been keen on right throughout the 4-year-old series. Money Catcher has improved in a short time in Hong Kong. And Rocket Spade, who we saw in that trial with the blinkers on with Turin Red Sun. Another one that has been a find when it comes to the 4-year-old series. But we heard Nick say in that interview with Joe, short run of the first turn in the Derby, and California Spangle will have to try and use all of his natural early speed from 10.
Yeah, he certainly will. Now, what I wanted to point out here is I think Sha Tin certainly had an opportunity to get forward to here on Romantic Warrior because he jumped so well. I think the sectionals can back that up. We'll see a graphic on that shortly. He's been caught wide here. Intrepid Winner's kicked up. I'm a Single Man's a bit keen. Down on the inside there, the horse in the blue and gold. But with the early sections, Paul, they weren't running slow, but there was definitely an opportunity for Sha Tin to get up outside potentially California Spangle, I thought.
Yeah, and in the end he got caught wide, didn't he, and had a real gutbuster of a run, unfortunately. It was still a top run from the horse. It's just how much has been taken out of him. He was 3 or 4 wide the whole way from the run. So from barrier number 8, we'll see what happens. If he jumps well and does go forward, he'll try and slot in, I think.
What about the horses? So many of them going to the 2,000 metres for the first time. Not all of them. We'll start with you, Paul. California Spangle. It's been talked about. Is he suspect at the trip?
Well, he is if he's taken on. There's no question about it. If Rocket Spade or another horse like Money Catcher wants to take him on, then, you know, any horse in front, I mean, it's very, very hard. I think it hasn't been done for 30-odd years in the Derby. A horse has led all the way. So, look, he's a very, very good horse, California Spangle. And, look, he could be the best horse, probably going to be the best horse going forward. The question is the 2,000, without doubt.
Of the others that finished behind him there, Tom, who are you picking out of that Classic Cup?
Yeah, look, I thought Moneycatcher was very good. He keeps on improving with each and every run. Turin Red Sun was closing well, and you can see those sectional times through the run. 13.78, 21.94 compared to Romantic Warrior's 21.98. He wouldn't have had to use too much more petrol, I feel, to go forward. And then 23.94. Zach has backed him a little bit up down the side in that fourth section. So, yeah, I definitely think there was a case that he could have gone forward with Romantic Warrior last start.
Are you taking those sectionals leading into the Derby, Paul?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it's going to be a different race because from the 2,000 metres, that's the key. It's the 2,000 metre start's a lot different from the 1,800 metre start because you've got that first bend coming up.
We've got 3 coming out of this race. This was over the 1,800 metres. Champion Dragon, flashy look, you won't miss him in the run. CrossFit, who was a winner on 2 or 3 starts ago, and SJ Torbin, he's been pretty disappointing since he's been there. Of these 3, Paul, do you give any of them even a rough show of winning the Derby?
No, probably not. I think this was a lot sort of a weaker form race than the other one. Champion Dragon, I think, is going to end up in the right position. So of the 3, probably him.
This was sort of the last chance saloon race for a few of these to get into the Derby, and Champion Dragon's been able to do it on ratings. He'd have to certainly find a bit. I haven't seen enough from SJ Torbin. He was there in that shout with sort of 100 metres to go, but just peaked on his run there. So those 3 don't do a great deal for me.
We've seen this trial in the interview with Joe, Tom, so we'll talk about the 2 that aren't Senor Toba. This is Rocket Spade. Now, it was only over the 1,200 metres and he absolutely sped along with the blinkers on. Moneycatcher had the job of taking the field up to him, and he's been in your selections, certainly in the Classic Cup, Moneycatcher, but he's been somewhat flying under the radar since he's been here.
Yeah, he has, and I don't think there's any query sort of with the distance for him. He did place up to 2,100 metres in New Zealand, so I don't think 2,000 metres is going to find him out. There was no real pressure put on him in the barrier trial. Rocket Spade, I've been a fan of him as well, but he just hasn't quite come up to the extent I thought he might, Paul, this time round for Rocket Spade. Yeah,
he's a Group 1 winner over 2,400 metres. He won the Derby, of course, in New Zealand, Rocket Spade. He did race in the blinkers over there. They put the blinkers on for this trial, and he's going to be wearing them on race day. So, look, Casper will have him cherry right for this race. And of those horses that did come out of that, he did have the best form, Rocket Spade. So if he can reproduce any of that, then look, I think he can run a bit of a race.
They do come with very similar form lines, Moneycatcher and Rocket Spade from New Zealand. Pressure time now, Paul. Who wins the Derby?
I'm going to stick with the Irishman. I've been with him the whole way. I just think the 2,000 metres is going to be perfect. If they do go quick in front, he's going to be at the back. He'll make the use of that. Romantic Warrior, as long as that run hasn't taken anything out of him, he's got the right credentials to win the race. California Spangle, he's a class horse, so you can't rule him out totally. And Turin Red Sun is the big improver throughout the 4-year-old series. 3, 2, 1, 4.
2, 8, 1 and 3. I'll settle with the Romantic Warrior here. I just think the trip is just going to suit him down to the ground here. Drawn at gate 8 for Karis Teaton and Danny Shub. He's only just had that one miss, and that was last start when 4th, and certainly wasn't disgraced there. 8 Moneycatcher goes in, 1 California Spangle and 3 the Irishman. So 2, 8, 1 and 3.